Good morning. Something that can quite often unstick people, and I definitely resonate with this one, is when their button is pressed. And there's kind of two types of buttons that can be pressed. One is a situational button, and one is kind of um, more about how you're kind of feeling at the time. So, situational button or kind of a trigger might be when someone challenges you in something, whether it's one of your non-negotiables or something you feel very passionately about. So something I am quite sort of not strict, but is like time management. So I like to be on time. I get very frustrated when I'm not on time, when people are making me late, when people turn up late for meetings. I kind of see it as very much disrespectful, very frustrating, and do they not value my time? And I know that if I focus on that, it can really derail a meeting. So, you know, I'll be negative, I'll be a bit abrupt, where I don't know what the true situation is because that person could have been talking to a CEO just beforehand, or their kids are ill, or they've had to do the school run and the kids wouldn't come out, or that all these things that can kind of play. But I know that it's one of my buttons, so it's being very conscious of. I know this is going to piss me off. How can I make sure that it doesn't ruin this interaction? Because it might be that I'm talking to a potential client, or it might be that I'm coaching someone, and it's like, hang on, I've got to bring my best here. And it goes back to something I talked about the other day, which is like assume good person, bad situation. But if I didn't know that it's a hot button, you sort of naturally go down that path. And then the other type of hot button is more the kind of how you're feeling, sort of. So for me, tiredness is a massive one. Right? I if I haven't had a good night's sleep, I know that I'm going to be grumpy. Like, so are most people. But I used to sort of come into the office, and some days I would have my headphones on. I kind of would avoid eye contact with most people, go into my office, shut my office door. And that was one of those things that when I had that trigger, I need to make sure that I do something that's going to give me some energy. So maybe that's making sure that drinking plenty of water, going for an outside walk, taking some breaks, stuff like that. Maybe have a nap in the office. But also just be conscious of it. Again, I know I'm going to be snappy, so try and hold myself back. Be aware of it. There's going to be other situations where maybe you're feeling unwell, or maybe there's some stress going on at home, and it's all about like bringing your best self to whatever situation you're in. It's not like hiding your problems, but it's like if there's nothing you can do about that problem at that moment in time, so you can't sit there and talk to someone in the office about your lack of sleep without just being a whining person, which you don't want to do. It's not going to add anything to the conversation. So it's being mindful of it, being aware of it, look at what your coping mechanisms are, and also how do you resolve it in the long term. So sleep is like going to bed earlier, reducing the amount of like blue light in the evenings, all those sorts of things, reduce the amount of caffeine in the afternoon. If it's kind of feeling unwell, it's like making sure that you're seeing the doctor, you're not hiding this stuff away. So, all these things, like work out what those trigger hot buttons are, put something in place to help mitigate it, or just being aware of it and being sympathetic to yourself. So, with that, give it a try. It is bloody life changing as always, and speak to you soon.